Hey, what up, what up, what up, what up, uMu? Thank you for joining us for the very first installment of our HotWash series. As usual, joining us from the admin team, we got Jay Will. Say what up, Jay Will.
What up, y'all? What up?
Also, we got Miss Hype God herself, Kiana. Say what up, Key.
What's up, y'all? Hey, hey, hey.
All right, before we get started into our content, as usual, I'd like to take a little break to kind of go over our disclaimer. So, all of the views and opinions expressed here this evening are our own personal views and opinions and do not represent the Air Force or any DoD organization. So, with that, Jay will tell people what the hot wash is all about.
Yo, so we had this random idea one day and was like, man, we got all these leaders, they got all these experiences. Let's hear about it. It's just ironic that the guest that we have on today is actually soon to not be with us anymore as an airman. But the intent behind this hot wash is not that an individual has to be retired. So the reason why I'm overly explaining it is because if y'all want to see anybody on here, this is the early plug, and we're going to take the people through their journeys of their career. We're going to ask them all the hard questions. Yeah, stay tuned. That's all I gotta say. It's the hot wash, so it's time to spill the tea. But Key, let's talk about the platform and what else we got going on.
All right, y'all. So, as Jay Will said, this is definitely something that's very new for us. We are extremely excited about it. We're using StreamYard. And so, I've already pinned in our comments to just enable StreamYard so we don't see Facebook user. We can actually see your names. And at the end, we're going to have something where it's going to be like a fire round rapid questions. So, the questions that you have for Chief, she ain't scared. She got bone crusher in her veins. She come from that era a little bit, and so she's willing to answer whatever we throw her way. So make sure y'all come with it.
So with that, Chief, give us a little quick brief introduction for anybody hiding under a rock somewhere that probably hasn't seen your face, even around uMu supporting us because you always have. Give us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm from Philly. Well, most people know that because I make sure that they knew that. They know that. I'm from a huge blended family, number 5 of 10. I got 4 kids, 3 boys, 1 girl. There's Kiana asked me once why I hardly post ever pictures of her because she fine, and I don't want no creepy old men just in case they on my page
Yes.
looking at her.
Yes.
So I don't hardly post her, but I do have 1 daughter. I got 2 dogs. I like to have fun. I'm really funny. I don't tell people I'm funny all the time because I feel like if people knew I was this big goofball, they wouldn't take me, they couldn't take me seriously. But if I could get up the courage to go be a comedian and like knew long term that I would actually make a whole lot of money, then I would probably do that. Like I love to laugh and have fun, and that's just me. Everything else y'all know because I try to be pretty transparent.
Oh, well, we're gonna find out because we're about to hit these questions.
Right.
Then we're gonna see. But staying on the hot wash thing, we're gonna get right into it because in order to do a hot wash, I gotta start from the beginning. So at some point you said, I'm going to this blue one over here. There's 3 other choices, well, 4 and some more, but I'm going to this blue one. So get us that. Why the Air Force? Why'd you choose coming to Air Force?
So it's pretty basic, right? So Air Force recruiter came to my high school, but he didn't talk to me and I didn't talk to him. And he was so busy talking about like aerospace career fields, being a pilot, being a mechanic and all this other stuff. And I wasn't paying him any mind, to be honest with you, right? So I graduated high school at 17. I'm working, kicking it, doing whatever I wanted to do. And my mom, who didn't play no games, right? 2 years fly by. So I'm 20 years old, still sleeping on my mom's couch, running around, not really doing nothing productive. Went to college for like 5 months, which is what a semester maybe, failed miserably from doing that. And so my mom, I was sleep on the couch, minding my own business, and here she come talking about, you got to go do something or get out. And I was like out your house? And then she was like, yeah, like out my house. You need to go do something. So I was pretty mad at her. And what I do when I'm mad is I do retail therapy. So I got on a bus because I didn't know how to drive. I got on a bus and was going to the mall and I saw the Air Force recruiting office. It was on Broad and Cherry. And so what a lot of people don't know about me, like, I don't know what it is for me and the power of 3. If I see things 3 times, I go do that. Weird, but it worked. So I saw the recruiting office. That was the first thing. The second thing, when I'm in the mall in I walked past a recruiter and she was sharp too. She had like a little skirt on one and she was, looked all nice in her uniform. And I had never seen nobody in uniform except 2 years ago from high school, right? So then that was 2. And then maybe a week or so later, this when we used those Aim High commercials used to come on all the time. And it was like this Aim High commercial. And so I was just like, well, maybe I'm just supposed to join the Air Force, because what I did remember was that recruiter coming. So I went to the recruiting office in Broad and Cherry, and just to set the stage on what I looked like. So Mary J. Blige was dope back then. So I had a platinum blonde weave, long nails, a fake gold tooth. I was a hot mess. And I went in the recruiter office and I was like, I want to be in the Air Force. And he was like, let's talk about that. And so it sounded good, right? He talked to me about medical and dental. I thought that I was getting stationed at McGuire Air Force Base in Jersey. And I was like, I could do that. That's only up the street from my mom. And he was like, yeah, absolutely. We could get you to Jersey. I still have not been stationed at McGuire. So, but that's how I got in. And I thought my mom would change her mind because she loved me and she didn't want me to go. And right up until this one, people could walk you to the terminal. So right up until the day I left, my mom was like, oh, you're not going to go, blah, blah, blah. And so the recruiter came and got me. We was going on a tour of McGuire, and it dawned on her that I was going. So I had 2 weeks left, and she threw me like this big, massive party, and everybody came, and she took me to the airport, and I was like, this is it. She's going to be like, don't get on this plane. It's going to be real dramatic like a movie. And she hugged me, and she said, Boob, which is my nickname is Booby. She was like, Boob, do not embarrass us. And then turned me around and kind of pushed me a little bit through the terminal door. And here I am.
Don't let the doorknob hit you.
Right.
Good Lord.
Right.
Yeah, she kicked me right on out.
So of course we weren't planning on that intro, Chief, at all. But I think everybody has definitely an interesting story that we would never have predicted. But now that we know that portion of your life, at what point did you buy into the process? Was it an event or a person who helped like shape the Chief Weatherspoon that we all know and see today?
So I had a lot of people that shaped, who I was as a leader, but I didn't have buy-in until I made tech. So about 7.5, 8 years later, I had buy-in. Every re-enlistment for me was a necessity. So, so my mom passed away in 2001. And so I was home and I was getting out. And so in order to be able to stay home and rectify her affairs, I had to re-enlist. I didn't have a choice, right? And so my first taste of somebody taking care of people was, I'm in Jersey. I'm at my home in Philly. My leadership I was stationed at Nellis Air Force Base. And when my mom passed away, I called my supervisor, and my supervisor said he didn't care because we had an inventory to do. And I had 9 other brothers and sisters, and they can take care of the funeral arrangement. I had already been home for 30 days. So I was just like, well, I guess I'm going to jail because I'm not going home. And so my airman friends at the time went and they found, and if this man is still alive and y'all know him, his name was Dan Winters. Dan Winters called me on my phone and he said, listen, he said, if you do not re-enlist, you will not be getting paid. We want you to be able to be home for as long as you need to. You need to get paid. And so what I'm about to say now is probably illegal, but I feel like there should be some statutory limitations. So hopefully nobody come after me. So what happened next was he called somebody he knew at McGuire. My uncle drove me to McGuire. And at that time, the AFI just said you had to be in uniform, not your uniform. Some airmen I didn't know gave me their uniform, their boots. My last name was Henderson at the time. And this person's last name was Harris, close enough. And so I had all their stuff on. They found some random lieutenant. I re-enlisted, and I did it only because I needed to stay home and take care of my mom's affairs. Right after that, I PCS'd and all of that, but the first enlistment was out of necessity. So I PCS'd to Kadena, met my baby daddy. Had 2 of the 4 kids. And my second re-enlistment was because I had kids. I needed a job. Had to do something. But it wasn't until I made tech now. it wasn't when I made staff, because when the year I made it, 63.75% of senior airmen made staff. So anybody out there telling these staff sergeants, oh, they're giving it away, lies. They gave it to me. I didn't earn that. They gave it to me. But tech, I had earned the hard way, right? Tech, I had earned the hard way. And once that happened, and I had some airmen by that time, and I was taking care of people, I was like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I can do this. This is great. And so it wasn't until I was in 7.5, 8 years.
Can we go back for a second real quick though? So when going back to the passing of your mother, and of course we're sorry to hear about your loss from back then. I just remember a different time when you have told this story where it was like, it seemed like your chain was not on board with helping you at all. But that's when it was like the airman mafia that many people don't like to refer to,
right.
Kind of chimed in. Are you still close with those individuals to this day? Do you still
I am.
Are they still
in? I am. No, the last one that was in retired. She just retired. Yeah, but and I won't say it was the chain. It was, his name was Nathaniel Sterling. I don't care if y'all know him. His name was Master Sergeant Nathaniel Sterling, and he sucked. But it was just him. Like, it wasn't my NCOs, because I was a senior airman. It wasn't my NCOs. It was him. Like, he hated me for whatever reason. And when that was his response, he went into the office and was talking about how, I was going to get an Article 15 if I didn't come at blah, blah, blah. And when I tell you, baby, them A1Cs and them senior airmen got to Mr. Winters so fast. Yep. Mr. Winters called me and was like, you're going to be good. Don't worry about it.
That's awesome. I love hearing stories like that, where at least somebody had your best interest at heart. So my next question for you, Chief, is do you ever feel like you had that light bulb moment where you kind of understood the game and things started to fall into place? For example, if you're a Matrix fan, think of Neo when he understood and finally realized he didn't have to dodge bullets anymore and he could just navigate the way through using his will. You ever feel like you had a moment like that?
I was a master sergeant when I had that moment. And it was when I wanted to become a first sergeant. And my career field manager at the time was like, I'm not releasing nobody. And I'm just like, I don't care about none of that. I didn't really understand how any of that worked. I know what I wanted to do. And so I realized at that moment that I needed to advocate for myself. And so whoever would listen, I would let them know what the desires of my heart was, right? And I knew that I had a lot more power and control over my career than I had thought of before. And so I found myself, I was at resiliency training, and I found myself standing next to General Selva. He was the AMC commander at the time. And I realized who he was, and I looked at him and I was like, I really want to be a first sergeant, but my career field manager won't release me. And he was like, what? And this was at the time where they were going to non-ball senior NCOs to be first sergeants, right? So he was like, you want to be a first sergeant? I was like, yes, sir. And he was just like, and he called his exec over. I gave his exec my information, and it happened. And people were pissed, but I was happy. And at that moment, that's when I realized how important advocacy was, because we have a problem with telling people what we want because we're so mad that somebody was going to get mad. I didn't go to his office. I didn't call him, but I sure made sure that I had to go to the bathroom when he walked out after his briefing. So that was my light bulb moment, how important it is for me to advocate for myself. I know what I'm capable of, and I knew what I could do. But if I allowed other people to tell that story, I would have never been able to be a first sergeant, because it was, oh, you're too young. It's going to ruin your career. You sure this is what you want to do? Well, no, you should worry more about manning than and I'm like, no, I know I want to take care of people. Back to when I was at Nellis and the first sergeant there, again, I don't know if it was legal or not, but my brother was going with me to Kadena, my baby brother, as a dependent. He chose not to, but I wanted to be that for other people,
right?
And I didn't care. And so sometimes, we get mad when our airmen, if they find themselves in a situation where they can have a conversation and they voice a desire or they have a concern, we get pissed. But I don't, because I know that's what I did. So I don't know.
Oh,
People
you didn't
don't
give me
like
the
that answer,
opportunity. No, that's
Yeah.
real. Because most of the time they in their feelings because they'd be like, oh, well, you didn't give me the opportunity. Well, you didn't put yourself in a position where they trusted you to do so. So, hey, but as I digress, because now you're dodging bullets. Let's just go with that. You're navigating around, you dodging bullets. So you didn't figure the game out, right? But sometime during that point, you did take a look back on your career. What I want to do is take you back to that moment and say, what was one of those regrets? What was one of those things that you're like, damn, I really wish I would have did that differently? Don't give me that. Oh, well, no, everything has landed me to the point that I'm at now. And, whatever candid answer, all the things I've been through now. What was that moment that you look back on your career and you're like, man, I really wish I would have done that differently?
How I used to talk to people. I was nasty. I was so mean. And I think it wasn't until later when I got a little older that I realized you can, catch more bees with honey? Or is it flies with vinegar? I don't know. But either way, venomous, right? Like I would like not having peer-to-peer relationships. Early, like I had my close group of friends because they were very alpha and very dominant like me. So they understood my language. They understood, where I was coming from most of the time. But the emotional intelligence piece, I didn't learn that until later. I didn't learn how important it was to use my words, how you can speak life or death into people. And I was never like that with people junior to me. But if you were my peer, you was going to get all the smoke and I didn't care. Not realizing that, you should care about how your words land in people's spirit. You should care about the things you say to them. I never did anything dirty to anybody, but if I thought for 1 nanosecond that you was trying to come for me, I was slicing and dicing you with my tongue. And I just think it's just, I don't know how many people I broke doing that, but that's a regret that I had because knowing what I know now about how powerful words are, I wouldn't have been like that.
Respect.
I like that. All right, Chief. So speaking of regrets, one thing that I'm actually struggling with right now is parent regret or mom guilt or parent guilt, not regret, but guilt. Sorry about that. So with that guilt, we feel that anybody who is a parent that's serving, I was separated from my son for 8 months. And so now he doesn't like me. I feel like the deadbeat parent where he's like, why did you take me away kind of thing. And so being that I know you've deployed and you've gone to different places where your children could not go, have you ever dealt with parent guilt? Do you think that's fact or fiction? And if you think it is a fact, like how did you overcome that?
So I think it is absolutely a fact. I got to big up Rodney Sr. because every time I deployed, he made sure that me and the kids connected in some type of way. I think I still experience mom guilt because I realized how much I missed of them growing up and how much of them I still don't know. I spent over an hour with my son, Jayden, who's in college, on the phone with him. And I was just like, damn, like, I don't know him like that. Like, he's funny like me. He's sarcastic like me. And I think because I missed out, I was gone for a year or multiple TDYs, those little parts of their personality, I'm having to learn all over again. So there's always going to be some type of guilt, but I always make sure I make the concerted effort to build the relationship where it is. Like Justin, my baby, he is spoiled because of mom guilt. Oh, whatever you want. It don't matter. He get it. But I try to, as they're growing, I have to remember they're growing into young men. And because I miss those certain parts, I can't parent them from that space, right? Like I can't parent them like they were 10. I wasn't there for that. I missed that one. Can't parent them like they were 13. Wasn't there for that. I missed that. But I am here for 16 and I am here for 18. And I was there for 15 and 14 or whatever. So I think for me, I think that guilt is always there, but I'm consistently working to build relationships with them. And I'd say Jayden and Justin, because Rodney and Raquel are my bonus babies. Me and yes, honey, we don't say step baby, my bonus babies. And so we have a beautiful relationship. Raquel is
Yes.
one of my sorority sisters, and we're just all very close. So with them always being far away, we've perfected that building that family unit from a distance. And so those things were just applied while I was gone. But I think that mom guilt is always there, but you can't sit in that space. I missed 10th and 11th. I can't go back and get it. I can't,
Right.
start throwing birthday parties trying to catch up, right? Like I can't go back and do that. So I just work really hard on building the relationships that we have right now, which is really, really great, especially with my daughter since she's my soror. So
Well, I have one quick follow-up question. So I've heard a lot of leaders either retire sooner than they possibly have wanted to, or they passed up on certain jobs where they're like, I know if I take this job, and it was crazy because it's a thin line between cocky and confident. And they're like, I know if I take this job, but how this thing flow, I know I'm going to make X, Y, and Z, or it's going to then force me to be out of the home. And so I've seen a lot of them hang it up so soon, or have that regret of choosing their job, feeling like they chose their job over their family. Have you ever dealt with that? And if you have, like, what is the biggest thing when it comes down to there's certain jobs where it's like these things are falling into place, but maybe what you need with your children like matters more in those moments. Like how do you pick?
Yeah, so I will say, my whole career, I wanted to be, you come in, you want to be Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force, right? And then you get older and you realize that there's certain tiers. So in 2019, I was on a command chief list, and everybody's like, "You absolutely gonna be a command chief?" Blah 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 blah. That was also the time that we had to start preparing for Jaden to go to college. So I had a decision to make, right? Because it wasn't like I was going to get a job here at Patrick Space Force Base, right? Like it's not like that was going to happen. So I was either going to have to compete to go overseas, and I'm not going to lie, like I think I'm good money, right? So I felt like I would have gotten hired,
Right.
but that means that I would have had to leave my baby when he had to make to me the first important adult decision of his life, and I couldn't do that. So I called my command chief and I was just like, hey, what happens if I want to take a knee? And so he explained that. And, whatever I was coded, I was pulled off the list or whatever. No harm, no foul. Right. But in that moment, I started to think about, did I want to be a command chief for me, or did I want to be a command chief because that's what other people told me I was supposed to do? That they would tell me that this is what you were good at. This is what you were supposed to do. And so I've had people ask me, hey, do you think you didn't get picked up because you wear a hijab? And I was like, no, I asked to be removed because y'all know I got a family, right? Like I had to make a decision because I've only done 25 years. And in my mind, I was going to do all 30 and beyond. But it was the minute I had to make that decision, because me choosing between the Air Force and my family was never an issue because they were small. So they ain't have no choice but to go where I was going to go. They didn't have any choice but to just kind of, go with grandma and grandpa or, my aunts and uncles, because, me and Rodney sometimes had to deploy at the same time. So the moment that it was like, oh my God, wait a minute, this is not going to work for us, it was a no-brainer. I just didn't know what happened next, right? So then in my mind, I was like, well, I'm going to go be a command chief in between Justin and Jaden. And then I went to sleep and woke up and was like, girl, you dumb. Like, that's not how that's going to work. But in that moment, I realized, like they endured a lot, right? Like their life is completely different than their cousins who's always had their parents around the entire time. And if anybody deserved all of me, it was them boys. So
Okay.
I don't know who in here cutting onions, man. I don't know what's going on.
Between her, Chief Woods did us like that too, and he starts on my family.
I don't know. It's probably Black Hat, but we about 30 minutes into this. I did want to remind the uMu team, hey, we, as always, our guests accept live questions. This time we're gonna change up the format just a little bit because I know we got a little viewers out there and we're getting questions. We're doing a rapid fire for at the end. So we're taking down your questions, and then at the end of this conversation, we're going to rapid fire, and she's going to answer them all. So go ahead and post your questions in the comments, and then we're going to make sure that we get to them. So with that, Black, I think you had some.
Yeah, before I get into my question, Chief, man, those are real life issues you talk about, man. Like that's kind of where I'm at right now. Like not trying to live my career based on what other people's opinions of what my career should be like. Man, that's rough because a lot of people have some really big dreams for us, right? And we get stuck
Right.
getting ourselves deeper and deeper. And next thing you know, 5, 10, 15 years done passed and we ain't got nothing to show for it. But we over here chasing somebody else's dream for us. But I digress, right? I'm gonna stay on the topic of kind of keeping it real, fiction or fact or fiction, right? So do you ever feel like it made me lose my train of thought. This is a bridge question. I also deep in that last question. Do you ever feel like do you think that bridges are important? And if so, do you ever have a regret related to a bridge that you may or may not have burned because of listening to hear you say your venomous personality earlier on in your career?
If I burned a bridge, it was necessary. It was out of necessity. And sometimes I burn a village around the bridge too. Let me give you an example. So when I was deployed, and this is work related, right? So if I build a bridge, so let me caveat, right? If I burn a bridge in my personal life, it is because the person that had access to me through that bridge was absolutely toxic. They were trying to tear me down. They, was slow clapping when it was time for me to get recognized. So if I burned that bridge on a personal level, it was because it was better for my mental health. It was better for, my, not physical safety, but my personal safety and security. And with that, like those things are necessary. So if I'm done with you, I'm done with you. I don't do backsies, right? Like if I was single, I don't re-date boyfriends and I don't refriend people who cause me to burn that bridge. That's my personal life. That's how I stay mentally healthy. Okay, work-wise. So I was burning bridges with peers when I was stationed at LUD. And so I was the FSS superintendent. And when I tell you that was an eye opener for me, because when I tell you from officers to senior enlisted was so nasty to senior airmen and A1Cs, and I wasn't having it, right? As a leader, I know they tell you you're supposed to be diplomatic and sit down and talk with people and reason with them. Let me give you an example. So it was a chief. She decided to go get her 3 drinks, maybe 7, I don't know, but she was drunk. Went into lodging, decided to cuss my staff sergeant out. What I told them, you do not go toe to toe with anybody because that's my job. That's what I do. So they always send me like an email. Hey, chief, this is what happened, blah, blah, blah. So I'm bebopping down the stairs, minding my own business, and people gonna get mad, but whatever, I'm retiring. Minding my own business, and I ran into this person, and I lit her up from one end to another. We screaming in the hallway. The MSG chief come out there, and he getting in the middle of it. He in his pajamas. I don't care. I didn't care. And he was just like, well, you might need her. I ain't gonna need her for nothing. She gonna need me to eat. She need me to sleep. I'm the FSS superintendent, right? I don't care. But my thing was, people were bullies. They were so nasty. Y'all, I was showing up at people's jobs.
Deedis.
I don't care. I sure was. And somebody stopped, pulled me to the side. Well, Glo, they think you're angry Black woman. I said, facts. I'm mad and I'm Black. I don't care. Because like it blew my mind how nasty people were. And then it was crazy because it was this one dude. He was the OG chief. I ain't gonna say names again, but the other people out. So he was the OG chief at the time, and he was super nasty to the point where we went through all the dorms and took pictures of all the penises they had up and the naked people and all that, and I printed them out, took them right to the command chief. This is what you about to do. When I tell you, he called and was like, hey, maybe we could work something out. You can come to me. Nah, play. It's too late. It's too late. Come to you for what? Right? And I give it big up to my command chief at the time. Him and the absent command chief at the time. They all trying to sit me down. And Gloria, you're a young chief, and this is not how you act. Whatever. Go tell them how to act. Tell them to stay out of my dining facilities yelling at my airmen. Tell them, right, that if they don't don't like it, they go downtown.
What's crazy? Oh, never mind. That was start. We'll get it. What's crazy is
they wanted to mention me.
At every rink, I bet you've heard. Well, you're a young, you don't know how to, and you're like, but I'm wearing it's.
Or I'm an adult. I'm an adult.
Yeah, what do you mean? Like I'm a young. I'm sorry. As I digress.
They didn't like that. I met fire with fire. I met fire with. I had a senior master sergeant, and I was a chief at the time. I had a senior master sergeant, same base. Go cuss out a staff sergeant in my fitness center because the staff sergeant was working to discipline one of the contractors who was her friend. Cuss that young lady out. And so I'm walking around and I saw her 10 o'clock at night. I'm gonna meet you where you at, sis. And I didn't cuss her out. I let her know that I knew exactly what her job was because she worked in the IG. She might still be in health. All I know, she in this group. She gonna know if I'm talking about her. Told her what her job was because she worked for the IG and she worked for the absent command chief. And I was just so intimidated. Again, I told you I never was like that with people junior to me. I am very even keeled. I am very explanatory, but I am very firm and I do not play. And I was very serious about her never again talking to anybody that way, especially if they belong to the FSS. And so I had the absent command chief. Me and him went to have coffee. And he, well, Gloria, don't do that to, people junior to you. And I said, didn't you just yell at my tech sergeant last night? That conversation went a whole different way. Mm-hmm. But it was the truth. And so when I say burn bridges, I burned professional bridges for a whole 12 months, but they left my folks alone. They didn't like me, but they also didn't want to see me coming. So I was okay with that.
I have a whole other follow-up to that because it's such a fine line, right? Because at some point, those individuals going to be recognized at a higher level than you. Those individuals potentially can be overly scrutinized as they go up higher than you. So it's such a fine line where it's like, hey, man, I'm protecting my people, but in the same respect, I don't want them feeling any repercussions behind whatever I'm doing, whatever I'm trying to do in whatever way. So. But yeah, so I'm thinking at this point, that the Air Force is a career. Like for most people, you're like, I got to stay around. I got to finish this out. I need this check. But for most people, like around that 10 to 12 year mark, they're either saying, yo, I can't do this no more. Or, hey, I'm going to finish this out. I'm going to ride this out. I'm liking what I'm doing. Can you take me through some of your thoughts when you had that turning point in your career, when you knew that, hey, I'm going to finish this, I'm going to go. And then what was how did you come to your decision on, hey, this is a career for me. I'm finishing this one out.
So I made a master my first time after, being told. I had a supervisor tell me I'll never get promoted with 2 kids. Because I had one in the belly and one on the hip with them two. They only 13 months apart. So he gave me a whole speech about how I might as well just go get out and be a mom. And so by the time I made master my first time, and I was just like, this is easy. Is this it? I can do this. So it's about 11 years. I knew that I wanted to do it. And I had picked up some mentors by then. Chief Master Sergeant Rita Green. She was phenomenal. She was the first female chief that I had ever had a relationship with. And she really sat down and talked to me about making the Air Force career and how much I could impact the lives of other people and how I could take all of my experience. And if I chose to work, how that would apply to later. So to me, you gotta play the long game with the Air Force, right? Because eventually you gotta go. You can't stay forever. So you have to play the long game. And so with her, watching her and how she moved and hearing about how she didn't yell, she didn't scream. I didn't do any of those things when I became a senior NCO. I did all the opposite, but she didn't yell, she didn't scream. She walked in a room and she commanded. She had this command presence. And I knew I wanted to be like that in life, period. So when I realized that I wanted to make it a career was when I got to see somebody who looked like me doing it and doing it well. Yeah.
Nice. So now that you have bought in at that point, right, and you had got some good mentors around you, hindsight being 2020, what do you think you could have changed to make that 10 to 12-year mark or any time in that past like more successful? Because you were going to get to that role, but instead of going the construction route, is there anything you would have like changed up just a little bit?
I didn't have a plan. I had no idea how promotion worked. I had no idea how anything worked, right? And so I think, we look for our supervisors to give us those things. But I think if I would have been more mature when I came in, I would have sought that information up front, because I just didn't have a plan. I was just all over the place, but I knew if you studied, you'd get promoted, right? Because everybody didn't get boarded up until master. Then you literally took a test, you got promoted. So I knew that piece, but I never had a plan. I do everything haphazardly, probably because I'm an orange. I do what feels good at the time. So looking back on it, I think having a plan in place, going to school when I was supposed to. I didn't start going to school until 2006, and I came in 96. Because I happened to fall upon a conversation about education. People weren't even talking to me. I used to have to ear hustle all the time to get certain information. But I think having a plan is important. If you're going to stay 4 years, if you're going to stay 30, have a plan on what you want to do, what that looks like, how you're going to get there, milestones. But if you don't reach those milestones, they're your milestones. Just move them. But I think I just didn't have a plan, because I think that I probably would have made rank a lot faster had I knew what I was doing.
So let me caveat and then also expand on this question a little bit. Is so did your plan include promotion, or did your plan have goals and then promotion came along the way? I think sometimes we get, hey, promotion has to land as my goal, but I think promotion is comes along the path. But I want to get your opinion as far as that. If you would have created a plan, would the plan include promotion, or would promotion come along the way of your milestones within your plan?
So promotions, we don't make a whole lot of money. Promotions was definitely a part of my plan. I like things and stuff, and promotions come with money, right? But my personal goals is when I get to that rank to be the best at what I'm supposed to be for myself and for other people. But I had a conversation with somebody the other day. I feel like we get mad at people that want to get promoted. Oh, you rank chasing. You're like, well, we don't make a whole lot. Have you seen the base pay?
Yeah.
For what we do, right? Have you ran into a 03E that make way more than you do? That's been in a lot less longer. So I think we should. We shouldn't shame people for wanting to get promoted. Now, if you don't act accordingly, once you get there, that's a different conversation to have. But promotion was always a part of my plan. Like, again, I was like, I'll be chief master sergeant of the Air Force. And then I was like, no, I don't. I just want to be a chief. And why? The why was a little bit different. I wanted to be a chief because with every promotion I had was more cover for the people that I wanted to protect and take care of. It also meant more shoes, maybe a nicer car. But it was, everything.
Shoes. You heard that? Shoes.
Everything was tenfold, but it all went together. It always included promotion.
It wasn't until master where I was like, you know what? I think I could do this. My paycheck, I felt like I could breathe. Like I really could inhale and exhale. I was like, this is what y'all making. I think I could do. I think I can stretch this out a little bit.
I think my careers are kind of backwards and wrong, because I'm thinking I'm having my mid-career crisis now, and I'm late in the game. So I don't know what's going on. Back in those days, I was fine. I was like, man, it's lovely. I'm deploying, PTDY, and doing all the cool things.
Easy.
Now I'm like,
I was balling as a senior airman.
No responsibilities.
This is true.
I'm telling you, pay hit differently with no kids. I just want to throw that out there.
Life hit differently with no kids.
Like you should have like staff sergeant, no kids, and then you'd be like, oh, okay, I got you. You there? Okay.
Life hit differently with those kids. Like I was out there living reckless. I needed a kid to kind of bring me back to life. But anyway,
but
Chief,
it's not about you.
Our next question, right? We talked a lot about regrets and some things we wish we would have done differently. This next question is going to be tailored to highlights. So, what's the one story, the one shining moment from your career that you're going to forever share around the campfire stories when you're retired 10, 15, 20 years down the line? What's that one story for you, that one moment?
You know what? So when I was a first sergeant in security forces, we had a young man who was deployed and his wife was mill to mill. And they were having a baby. And so I was able to reach out to the person who worked in the EO office to be like, hey, I need a favor. Like, I got a defender that's coming over there to use the good Wi-Fi and to get some alone time because his wife is having a baby. But I was able to hook that up. But that ain't the highlight. The highlight is I got to be in a room when that baby was delivered, and I'm one of her godmommies. Oh. So that to me said everything, because I tried to lead in a way where people want me in their life and they just don't want me around because I'm in the military and that's what you got to do, right? But I was a part of their life. I'm still a part of their life, and I was a part of their family. So the highlight for me was watching baby Layla Rose be born, and to be able to watch her grow up and to forever be a part of their family. But the truth is, the 60th Security Forces Squadron, I'm still really close with a lot of the airmen from that squadron. And so overall, all 3 years of me being a first sergeant, but that last 13 months, because people have so much to say about cops. How you doing over there? They good? How they treat you? We was good. We were money. So my last 13 months, and I love everybody, because it might be people when you're like, for real, I'm not a part of that highlight. Yes, you are. I have a lot of highlights.
But we
only asked me about one.
We only
asked me about one, and it was being invited into an event that was life-changing for those parents. Like, that to me, this lady is giving birth and you want me in there? Like, that was the most honorable thing, that the thing that I've been most honored to do, if that makes sense. So
no. That's
I applaud you for it, Chief, because I don't know if I would have took that invite. I'd be like, I appreciate it. We're cool. I'll send you a card.
Yeah, I don't want to see all that.
The car gonna be warm. What temperature do you need the car?
It was a thing. It was like me, her mom, her best friend, a mentor, and a friend from before, and it was just. And again, I only have been there 13 months. So,
man, that is crazy, man. So, as we kind of come to a conclusion and in our questions, because we got some questions from the page and they're gonna snap on you. So good luck. But as we do come to wrap up with this, if and I want to paint this picture for you. So let's say I took a segment out, and I'm going to give you this opportunity. I took the segment out and I only posted this snippet of this conversation, and it could reach every airman that we have out there. I want to give you opportunity to say, what's that one piece of advice? What's that one message? If I took that snippet of this video and I just posted it out and said, this is her message, if you didn't listen to no more of this conversation, what's that one piece of advice that you want to give to our airmen?
Don't let other people's crazy become your crazy. And don't let nobody ever own your narrative and your story. Because if you don't speak on your own behalf, other people will fill in the blanks and begin to tell a story that has absolutely nothing to do with you, but ends up arbitrarily becoming yours because you are not using your own voice. Do not take on other people's issues, even when you want to protect your friends, because sometimes people will take all of their issues, throw them on your lap, and then they'll walk away. And you'll sit there dragging this heavy backpack, and you don't even know why. I'm not saying don't help people. I'm just saying learn to not absorb everybody else's challenges, and learn to not be the friend that dumps everything on their friends. Because during 2020, I was that person. I was dumping everything on one of my friends until she had a visual breakdown on a video call that we were having. Don't let anybody own your narrative, and don't let other people's crazy become your crazy. because the story that is being told should be told by you and you alone.
Well, let that sink in, We're gonna let this sink. I'm gonna blame Keith for not giving you the soul visual on the screen. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Feel a little.
Right.
That was your chance to shine, Keith. That was
right.
it.
My bad.
That was it.
I had
That was
one
your
job.
moment. That was your moment, and you was stuck in the moment.
I
we
was.
wasn't on the
I
live
couldn't
together.
write fast enough. I'm over here like, man, I didn't get a voice recorder.
I get my drink on that one. So.
All right, Chief, we ready for these rapid fire questions?
Yes.
Okay. So, as Jay has said, we're going to allow these live questions to come in from our guests. We've written down a few from the members from our page. And we're going to show them to you for 5 to 10 seconds, okay? The first one was sent to me personally, so I'm going to put it up here because this is actually a really good one. So, hold on, let me do my effects for this. Are you ready? Yikes.
Good.
She ain't on the solo screen. What you
Animated,
doing?
Right.
She like, did I miss it? Was it 5
Right.
seconds?
Right. Okay. Here's the first
Ready.
one. What is the big difference between chiefs and command chiefs? What's the disconnect on how you all treat each other?
Command chief's level of responsibility, right? Like a chief is responsible for the people in the squadron, maybe a group chief responsible for the group, but the command chief's responsible for everybody in that entire wing.
Okay,
let
me add some context to it. Do you think it's beef between the chiefs that are like at the squadron levels versus the command chiefs? Like if you guys all get together, do you think that there's like a distinct segregation between base level chiefs and command chiefs?
When you have a good command chief, there is not.
Oh.
When you don't have a good command chief, it is.
Oh.
Because a good command chief will pull all their chiefs together.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Right? A good command chief will make sure that there's communication up and down. A good command chiefs will willingly follow that command chief anywhere. For example, my girl, Chief Master Sergeant Amy Riley, who is my command chief. I watched her interact with her people, with her officers, with the other chiefs, the group chiefs that she had. And you can tell that they were a unit, that they were lockstep, that they talked, and maybe they didn't agree on everything, but they sure got together and made sure that that wing was taken care of together as a team. I've also seen where command chiefs only invite, only group chiefs can go to certain things, not like a meeting, but certain things, certain dinners where it was just the command chiefs and the group chiefs, and the squadron chiefs kind of had to fend for themselves. I wasn't really a fan of that. I didn't think that was okay. I think that caused a bit of a division. I've seen where you have command chiefs who don't pull nobody together, do nothing.
Yikes. Well, it's a problem if the junior ranks are asking this question because that's where it came from.
Or notice it.
Notice it.
The friction between
Yeah. All right. Next question.
I was like, am I the only one that understands the definition of rapid? I just want to.
Right. I know. Okay. Next one. What advice would you give an alpha female in a male dominant career field, but don't get the acceptance they deserve?
Find the biggest one and punch him in the face. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Oh, we edit this out. It's not live. Don't worry about it. Say whatever you want.
So what I would say is to the alpha woman, stand your ground, right? And handle things as they pop up. Because what we tend to do is overthink, right? So if you're in a male-dominated career field and it's a whole lot of testosterone in the room, all you need to do is one by one handle it. If you got one that's real mouthy, find out who the nucleus is, find out who everybody is, unofficially following, and you have a conversation with that individual, right? If there are no issues going on and you just assume because you're the one of always in a room, make the effort to get to know them a little bit, right? And let them get to know you. When I say know you, I don't mean you ain't gotta be friends, we're hanging out and spending holidays together and all of that. But I mean, know you as a leader, what your leadership philosophy is. If there's an opportunity for you to do things, go to them, bring them in. Because a lot of the times it has less to do with being an alpha and more to do with people, you know, just peeing on trees at that point, and everybody trying to figure out what their role is in the organization. So I didn't cuss.
All right, next. Speaking of mental health, did you find yourself in a dark place? Speaking of mental health, and this is just going through the questions, okay? So speaking of mental health, did you find yourself in a dark place in a situation, and how did you get through it?
So I'm gonna be a little bit transparent. I talked about this before, but not recently. So when my mother passed away, I had a whole plan in place to end my life. My mom was everything to me. My mom was everything to me. And my world was just over. She passed away from cancer, and we knew it was happening, but she was my superhero. So I couldn't wrap my head around it. I am a big fan of seeking mental health treatment. I have had a mental health provider for the last 20 years at different bases. I know I can't get attached, but I reach out and I find different ones until I find one that's right for me. I am a spiritual person. I meditate, I pray, I read books. I talk to my brothers and sisters a lot because they, you know, understand me. But I am a big fan of mental health. I have been, it's saved my life.
Thank you for that. Listen, we're not gonna cry up here. Next one. What makes being an FSS superintendent so complex?
The customers.
That's true.
The customers.
I got a lot of customers.
Because
like
those services professionals, those personnelists, and now the admins and education and training and manpower, right? Because we're all under force support. But that squadron, them folks know what they doing. They know their job. Stop arguing with them about how you interpret the AFI when you only read page 6, but the answer is also in page 60.
Right. Facts. All right. What is next for you after you retire? What's next?
I'm gonna go be an elementary school teacher. I don't know if I'm ready. I don't know if they're ready, but I feel like that's a good way for me to give back to the world, and that's what my goal is.
Do you have haters right now?
Of course. Every it's always somebody in the back squinting their face and mad, calling you a bunch of bees.
I'm not. Are you still going to continue TikTok after you retire?
I am, but just not in uniform, and I got to get a lot better. Now I'll probably dance, even though it's a couple of my senior NCOs who's like, please, dear God, don't do it. But yeah, I will.
2 more. What's the worst assignment you ever had?
This one. Next.
Damn.
How many pairs of shoes do you have?
Yes.
207.
Yeah, I have to be more careful.
All right, give us, if you had to sit on a panel of chief with your peers, give me your top 6 chiefs you would love to have a conversation with, past and present.
That I've never had a conversation with before.
Yes.
That I've never had a conversation with before.
Or it could be ones you have.
Good Lord, I met them all.
Pick your team. Pick your team. We'll do that better. Pick your panel.
Melvina Smith. I'm gonna say, and I don't want y'all to think I'm kissing her, but when I tell you this lady gives the best hugs on the planet, Chief Bass. I ain't tell her, but she gave me this hug at the after pack, and I went in the bathroom and cried.
Really?
Her hugs are magical. She also whispered in my ear that she was proud of me, and that I've done a good job. So that was good. D. Mosley, Kim Pollard, Chief Master Sergeant. Y'all know her. I better get ready. Chief Master Sergeant Yumiko Egan's.
Yes.
Casey, Keith Castile.
Hey, Chief Casey.
Chief Wright. Boy, Chief Finch is hilarious. I want him to be my best friend.
Why is he hilarious?
I can't say, it's a private joke.
I told you it's not live. It's not live. It's just
I tell y'all when we're done.
All right.
But I ain't saying it on here. How many people? It's a whole lot. So it's Amy for sure. Amy Riley. Chief Master Sergeant Amy Riley. Yep.
We're way past 6, so I just withdraw. I didn't know if you had a bench for like all the.
I do. I got a whole. It's a whole village.
I didn't know if there was subs like timeout. You know,
rapid fire. It is only
football team.
Yes.
Football team.
Love it.
All right, that was the last of rapid fire questions, man.
Yes, that's it.
Right. So as we get ready to wrap it up, uMu team. So thank you again for tuning in. First and foremost, before I get into like our little formal or pre-wrap up, Chief, I wanted to say thank you for taking the time. You have been a staunch supporter of the page for as long as I can remember. So thank you for your support, not only in front of the camera, but behind the stage as well. And that comes with reaching out to folks that have questions, connecting the right people. So thank you for all of the things you do. It's not necessarily always highlighted or always made known to everyone around us that just how much you're impacting the force or everyone as a whole. So first and foremost, thank you. But as far as some of the nuggets that I don't know if you guys noticed, I've been frantically writing
always
what Chief was trying to spit out. Like, so she gave us a bunch of nuggets today.
Hey, don't put that hat on solo.
Oh,
it does not deserve.
Take it off.
So
all right, so
it's got
the
worse.
hat changed.
Leave my brim alone. So the first part that she talked about that I kind of want to go back and we'll probably talk more about this offline, Chief, is the power of threes. I'm a big fan of it. You mentioned that earlier on. That's the universal number, so I'm not going to go into that rabbit hole, but I appreciate you for bringing that up. But myself and the page would like to see some pictures of that blonde wig or that blonde weave that you mentioned that you had. And it's not true unless you got pictures. We don't believe you. You need more people. One of the things that she mentioned that I want to emphasize to the rest of the page is she mentioned the importance of advocating for your people. So a lot of times we're in the rooms and we're around a lot of the key decision makers, but we're not speaking up and advocating for those that aren't necessarily in the room. So thank you for bringing that up, Chief. And you also mentioned a big part, or one of the biggest nuggets that you mentioned early on in the live was about taking control of your careers. I know a lot of people tend to just go with the flow or feel like others have control of what their career should look like. So there has to be a point that everyone realizes that you are the master of your own destiny and you can take your control over your career. And man, when you were talking about the bridges, that was surprising to me. Like I was expecting, well, I'm not gonna say what I was expecting, but the bridges comment, man, I'm a big fan. Chief says some bridges need to be burned, and even their villages too. Like, damn, I had to take a sip of that.
Damn, there might have been innocent bystanders.
She mean it too. Right.
But that's just to say that your mental health is more important than anything else. So sometimes we have to disconnect from people, no matter how they feel about it. You're always going to be the villain in someone else's story. We can't live our lives based on others' opinions of us. So thank you for sharing that, Chief. And you talked about your story about when you were deployed to the deed. I know a lot of us have some stories about being at the deed and the level of in depth the leadership out there tends to get. But you did mention a lot of stories about how you were protecting airmen. And I would like to highlight that, like the premise of that entire conversation was some people get comfort with the toxicity that they have, right? So those leaders are walking around being toxic and nobody checked them. So thank you for being our knight in shining armor and checking those toxic leaders. And if you're out there and if you're around other leaders that are toxic and they just don't know, be the one to voice that to them. Like, hey, sometimes people aren't aware. We talk about blind spots all the time. Sometimes leaders aren't aware just how toxic they are or just how toxic their behavior is. So thank you for that. You mentioned the importance of having a plan and playing the long game when it comes to the Air Force. I think a lot of us fail to realize just how strategic the Air Force is when we talk about a career. Like you have to plan A, B, C, and D. Because the Air Force makes a lot of decisions for us, and only a little bit of that is in our wheelhouse to make that choice, right? So thank you for highlighting that part. And the kind of last thing I wanted to talk about, Chief, is you mentioned it as well, is the importance of mental health. Man, if we haven't advocated or foot stomped one thing enough, it's this. It's the importance of our mental health. And it's okay to take a knee, even at a chief level. So if a chief can sit here in front of 15, 16,000 people and say, hey, I had to take a pause, I had to take a knee when I was going for command chief or whatever position you're going towards, it's okay for all of us to take a knee, man. There's always going to be another position, another pay grade, rank, duty title, whatever. Sometimes we need that knee. So I appreciate you, Chief, for taking the time out. And with that, I'm gonna pass it over to. I gotta get back from my notes.
Goodness, I was like, is he wrapping it up? Or is he
Oh,
Man,
like,
there was a lot of. I told you,
good
I
night?
swear I'm a,
don't rush me, B.
hey, not at all, not at all. So first and foremost, Chief, for as long as I keep saying Chief, thank you. You know, super humbling anytime. Anybody that doesn't know, literally, we hit her up. There was no questions asked. We gave her a date and time, whatever worked, like, and she made it happen. So thank you, you know, in front of everybody. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your support to the page. It means so much to all of us. I did have one for the follow-up for the thing. I had to add this piece on. Y'all, we gotta stop seeking acceptance from other people. Like, know your worth already. Like, if you're struggling with something and you're seeking it from somebody else, you got to know your own worth. So I just wanted to add on to Chief's comment on that. And the two other things that I had, so we had a couple of questions, if y'all can help us out from the page, if y'all can comment after this. So there's two things. We were trying to figure out, does Key look like a telemarketer, or does she sell all-inclusive resorts?
Paid vacation. She
And all-inclusive paid vacation. We don't know. We had a debate before this, so we need y'all to help us out. The second point, if anybody count how many times throughout this conversation that Black grabbed his suspenders and pulled on him, if y'all could please comment, and wrap that up for us, I would really appreciate it. So that's just the two things I have for y'all. And as always,
so I can show up here with the hairline so I can roast his ass.
Right.
And as always, uMu.
Oh, that's
anybody that rock with us this full time to the end, man. We're super humble. We're super appreciative for y'all continue to rock with us. But I think we already have a plug for possibly the next one, and it sounds like I'm gonna say Mrs. Chief Amy Riley. It sounds like the next person we need to have on here is Chief. So we're going to talk after this and see if we can make that happen for y'all, because we had a lot of comments with already a genuine person. So maybe we can make that happen for y'all. So with that, Key, I'm going to leave you with some closing.
Listen, y'all, pray for me. Listen, this is growth for your girl. He is doing this. Listen, I'm gonna say this on air. So during COVID, you're so funny. During COVID, I was forced back on social media. A lot of people know that, and I did a call out message because there were a lot of wonderful women who were getting out of the military because they did not see chiefs that they could connect with. So during that call out message, that was the first glimpse that Chief Weatherspoon and I had of each other. We then were connected by shout out to CMSgt Sergeant Shanique Harris, who connected us through the George Floyd murder. Chief Weatherspoon on her own accord was having a conversation with airmen who needed to talk through the murder. And that is how she and I became connected. Anytime I have needed her, she has been there through my PCS, through everything. She has sat in the dark with me. Even through the trials and tribulations of this page, as you can see what I go through with Jeremy Wilson and the Masson Resort. It definitely takes an entire village. And anybody out there who are creators, you know, sometimes you get a little nervous because it's not, sometimes their plan don't land the way you want it to. Any crazy idea I've ever had, Chief has either helped, she's been like, yeah, or let's talk, let's think through this. But I'm extremely grateful that if nothing else, our paths cross. I cannot wait to see you in real life. But I'm gonna tell you this, I'm gonna get them back. But Chief, from the bottom of my heart, in front of everybody, I definitely want to say thank you so much. You have always come through. There are maybe 10 chiefs that I always can hit up last minute and ask to come through in the clutch, and you are definitely one of those that has always supported. It matters. I tell the chiefs all the time, please support us, because we want to know from you all that we're hitting a mark, or we need to, tweak things a little bit. So I definitely thank you all so much for, buying into this and being here tonight. I love you.
Oh, I love y'all too. Can I say something? Because I know I'm not the wrapping it up person, but I want to tell y'all just in front of everybody watching. I tell y'all all the time in like private chats, but I'm really.
This was bad timing for
I knew Facebook. Why fight? Come on, man.
Well, let us be great, man.
We're about to get the plug right then. We're about
to get the plug. Oh man, Chief. No, look,
We're gonna
no.
give it a second, and we're just gonna
Yeah.
scroll through these
You know what I mean?
comments and let y'all react.
But
Key?
hey, I just want to go back and say somebody said Key over there calling us, asking us about our car warranty.
Y'all
All right, you
remember
been-
that?
happened?
Yeah,
Man,
you
as soon
froze.
as you
You like
said, as soon
Did
as
I
you
leave?
said,
you
yeah,
froze. Yeah, you froze.
Oh,
as soon
snap.
as you
Oh.
said, hey, the last thing we heard was in private chats, and then it went.
Yeah.
We was all on suspense, like, oh no.
What I was saying is, I say to y'all in private chats that I am very proud of you all and what y'all are doing on uMu. And I hope y'all know the impact that y'all are making, because it's a lot of youngsters that are going to be, you know, Kiana loves to go, your generation, Chief, but beyond me, beyond y'all, right? Like they're going to be the ones who are running this thing. And they have access to so much information because of y'all. Information I didn't get, and I'm sure information, you know, y'all didn't get when y'all were younger. And so y'all are key contributors to making them smarter, to making them more emotionally intelligent, to making their anxiety levels go down, because they know through this group that they have genuine senior NCOs that will, you know, go through hell and high water to make sure that they have what they need and that they're taken care of. And I am happy to leave because y'all got it.
Appreciate you, Chief.
I can't tell. You booked and busy, but we love it. We love it. I definitely love it. I'm gonna get my mic together and I'm gonna come back with these jokes. He caught me off guard on live. All right, y'all.
All
But
right,
all
you on
right.
mute.
All right, that's it. No more. All right, looks like that's it. That was your closing
Man,
remarks.
he just
So-
forgot we was on live, man. All
No,
right,
no,
Right.
y'all. We
I
do
thought,
that.
I thought you was going to
Bye,
introduce
y'all.
you.
Nah, man, it was all you,
Appreciate
man.
it.